called the Spanish Revival style. Wrigley is covered in thousands of terracotta tiles, which are all very delicate and do need to be hand washed every now and then, but they're also fireproof, and that's a bit of a thing here in Chicago. Please turn your flash off. Thank you so much. Make sure your flash is off. Thank you so much. And so, continuing up straight ahead of us is our second tallest building in the city, the Trump International Hotel and Tower, designed by Adrian Smith and built in 2009. This is called contextualism as a style, which often has mirrored glass windows to flatter its neighbors. This tower has 3 terraces which match the height of its neighbors, matching the height of the Wrigley, the first one. Second setback matches the height of the tall, thin white tower across the river, and its third setback way up there is the same height as its next door neighbor, that black box AMA Medical Center right next door, formerly the IBM building. You can see some of the lower floors of Trump Tower have a wavy floor plan, wavy like the waves of the river. More context. Please turn your flash off. Thank you. And so, this architect, Adrian Smith, who designed this tower, Adrian Smith is from Chicago. He is in his late 70s and referred to as the tallest architect in the world because he has designed many of the tallest skyscrapers in the world, including the current tallest, which is the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Continuing up on the right are everybody's favorite giant twin corn-cob towers called Marina City. Marina City was designed by Bertrand Goldberg in the 60s. His idea was to bring people to come live downtown. Back in his day, nobody lived in downtown Chicago. There was nothing fun to do or see here back then. So Goldberg had to make a huge effort to get people to move into these pie-shaped apartments. This complex boasts its own laundromat, grocery stores, retail shops, bowling alleys, cinema, restaurants, and more. They even have a very own marina downstairs where its residents can safely keep their boats year-round. You'll see also 18 floors of parking spaces, which are valet only. Now you might be looking at those wide open parking spaces and wondering to yourself, has anybody ever driven a car into the river from up there? And the answer is yes, they have, because this is America. Twice. Once was for a movie called The Hunter with Steve McQueen, and the other time was for a car insurance commercial. That must have been quite the insurance policy on that one. Now, I want to draw your attention underneath this bridge to the right. You'll see a temporary platform with some heavy machinery on there. They're removing and replacing some bits of this bridge. Little by little, they're making their way across, fixing this bridge. So don't worry, that part of the road is closed for now until they make their way all the way across. Up to the left, you will see a beautiful Greek temple on top of a glass tower. That is 77 West Wacker. A nice example of the neoclassical style. Neoclassical is a fusion of the new and the old together in perfect harmony. You can see modern mirrored glass windows framed by Portuguese royal white granite. This is a perfect time of day to see it. You can see the reflection of the other side, but you can also see the lights inside of it. I just love this time of day. 77 was designed by a Spanish architect named Ricardo Bofill and built in 1992. Over to your right, you will see this red brick building called the Reed Murdoch Center, lit up with some bright, lovely colors here. Reed Murdoch, if you look closely, is asymmetrical. You can actually count. It has 6 bays of windows to the east of the clock tower, but only 5 to the west of the clock tower, and that's because they had to come in and destroy a section of this building to make space for the expansion of LaSalle Street coming up here. In the 20s, they did this because Chicago was just growing rapidly during that decade, and they needed the extra space, and I'm sure the architect wasn't too happy about that. But nowadays, they have inside of here the headquarters of Encyclopedia Britannica. Does anybody over 30 remember Encyclopedia Britannica? Is it? Okay, good. I see a few hands. It's a good set of books. It's all online now, apparently. 2014. Continuing up on the right, you see a tall glass tower called 300 North LaSalle. My favorite feature of this one is that lovely little steakhouse they have downstairs called Chicago Cut. I went there almost 4 years ago to celebrate getting this job at Shoreline Sightseeing. Yeah, it's good. Thank you, thank you. I feel like it's time to go back. You'll see that. And so right next to it is the Helene Curtis building with its three-part design and its large windows. This is an example of Chicago architects when they started moving away from the European styles, creating their own unique styles, and they call that first Chicago School of Architecture. Coming of age. Continuing up on the right is this big, wide merchandise mart built in the Art Deco style. Art Deco is known for its deep inset windows, vertical racing stripes, polished Indiana limestone, and repetitive geometric shapes. Merchandise Mart occupies 2 city blocks. It has 7.5 miles or 10 kilometers of hallways inside and about 30 elevators. It's pretty big. And you can see these 8 busts in the front. These are of the 8 merchant princes of Chicago. These were wealthy businessmen that helped Chicago grow years ago. Those were installed by the Kennedy family, who owned this building for about 50 years. Yes, that Kennedy family. Merchandise Mart is so big that it's got its own train station, and they used to even have their very own zip code for years, until Chicago came in and told them they had to share it with the neighbors. All right, we are now entering Wolf Point, which is the Y-shaped junction of the 3 branches of the Chicago River. This is where it all started. Years ago, with a settlement of fur trappers. The first thing that they built right here were 3 taverns, because priorities, right? That settlement eventually grew to become the town of Chicago in the 1830s, and it hasn't stopped growing since. Now take a look up to your right, you'll see the Salesforce Tower. This is still under construction, but they're getting close to being done. A year ago, this was just a skeleton frame, and it's been fun watching this go up. They go up so fast these days, don't they? Now, straight ahead of us, you'll see another tall glass tower that has large arches on the top and the bottom, the one that looks like a large hot pocket. This is River Point. River Point has the arch on the bottom because that section of the building is built over train tracks, and you cannot block the trains with your building, no matter who you are. They are Heinz Investments, not the ketchup, Houston-based corporation. Underneath the arch, they put later on that red spiral sculpture, which is called Constellation by Santiago Calatrava. New fragrance for this season. No, it's actually, he's another Spanish architect from Valencia, Spain. And he has suspension bridges and beautiful creative designs all around the world. Please turn your flash off. Please turn your flash off. Thank you. And so, we are underneath this tower. You can see a nice little walkway. You can see some happy little trees. You can see some circular windows, or holes rather. Those holes were specifically designed to ventilate the train tracks, which are now all underground as of 2017, when they finished that tower and the plaza that surrounds it. Now we are on the north branch of the Chicago River. We will continue north just about a block or so, and then we'll turn the boat around and head south after that. If we were to keep going north, if you go up north, you just pass through the whole city diagonally, and you eventually end up in some nice little residential areas and then the suburbs eventually. Up to your left, you see a little old pink building. That is the Fulton House. Fulton House was built in 1898, and that makes it the oldest building that we'll see today on the tour. When it was originally built, it didn't have any windows, and its walls were really thick because it was a giant freezer. The city stored a lot of its frozen meat in there, and they had to melt this giant ice cube, which took 3 months to get rid of all the ice before they could start shaping out some windows and adding some little nautical star detailing. The man in charge of the redesign here was Harry Weiss. Harry Weiss was a sailor and an architect. Being a sailor, he loved nautical scenes, and Weiss loved triangles. Think the silhouette of his favorite sailboat. So a few years later, Weiss designed the 4 triangular-shaped river cottages right next door. When he built these in the late 80s. A lot of people said, that's crazy. Who's going to pay all that money to live right here? But joke's on them. This is the nice area now, apparently. So somebody paid over $2 million to live there 7 years ago. You'll see similar prices in the Kinsey Park townhomes. Up to your left, they sold out before they were finished in 2000. In contrast, to the right, you will see the East Bank Athletic Club with their back to the river. That was the more common posture towards this river before Chicago cleaned it up and made it beautiful and fun like it is today. All right, here's where we're going to take our first little pause. How's everybody doing so far? Wonderful, wonderful. If you need anything downstairs, now's a good time. Bathrooms, drinks, and snacks are all down there. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll continue shortly after we turn around. Thank you.